Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 25 of What If Naruto Learn the clone's secret in the beginning. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the new episode of What If Naruto was disowned by everyone that I post on this channel. And stay in tune because later on over on Anime King, I'm going to be posting What If Naruto was given a second chance. So stay tuned for that and I hope you guys do enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, after finishing his solo mission, Naruto was given another mission with Jiraiya as they were still on their training trip. They were nearest, so they took the mission. As Jiraiya told Naruto everything about his parents. Well, Naruto didn't take it well as he was pissed off. He was beyond pissed. Even though he knew about Jiraiya's spy network, at least the man could have come at least once a year or something and told him that he was his godfather and talked to him. At least then he wouldn't be all alone. But this man left him all alone for all this time, as it pissed Naruto off beyond anything. So he didn't talk to Jiraiya the entire time, as they were supposed to guard the prince, a very fat prince that likes to waste money, and his son. The prince wanted to go and check out the circus, so they went off, as he bought tickets for all of them, where the tiger and the monkey was there. As seeing the place and that his son liked it, the man simply bought the entire circus, going back to his hometown. As he also stopped where the boy's mother was, as he offered her anything that she wanted, money, gold, anything. But she told him he never understand the real reason. He thought that money was the happiness of everything, but it wasn't. As they set sail, as the rain was pouring down, as Naruto was woken up by Jiraiya as they were supposed to go and bring in the animals. As the little boy said that he didn't care about them anymore. As Naruto was pissed as he slammed him into the wall. After he got bored with them, he just tossed them aside. As Naruto told him that he's a waste of space and went outside. As Naruto was saving the animals, but then the Kyuubi told him that the little punk is out here as well. As Naruto went over to see the boy, as he was falling off the railing, he tried to save the tiger. As Naruto jumped over and grabbed him, pulling him out back along with the monkey. At least he did something. So after that they headed off, as they made their way. But as they were going back to the palace, it seemed like there was being plots held against the prince. When he got there, he was told that his father was, well, contagious with a sickness. And he couldn't see them. Something was going on, but he didn't pay it any mind. As a party was held for them. As one of the men knew of Jiraiya, the man that was plotting against the prince. So he got many girls. That was the only way to distract Jiraiya. Many girls, saying that they knew of the famous Jiraiya and invited them to their, well, house for him to spend time with them. As Naruto was on the balcony, not really enjoying the party. As the little boy then came to him and asked him if he wanted to play some games. Naruto went off with him as he went to a large room with many TVs and games inside. But then they were attacked as they tried to place a genjutsu on Naruto. But he was easily able to break through it as they tried to poison him. But the fox flushed the poison out of his system as three of them surrounded him and one of them held on to the boy. They told him that he cannot win, it's three of them against one. But it seems that they didn't understand who he was after all. So yeah guys, so it's basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? Why the hell are you smiling, brat? The man asks. You say I'm alone. It's obvious that you don't know who I am, said Naruto. The moment Naruto said that, several poofs went off as the clones came rushing out. Caught off guard by the attack, it took a moment for the three enemy ninjas to respond. But they were still experienced ninja and they respond. As they managed to dispel off the clone. I don't know what you were trying to accomplish with that, the man said to the orange hair, but he then looked around Naruto and Hikaru was gone. He grit his teeth in frustration and anger as he realized what happened. A distraction. Karenbana, Kanka, find them and kill them before they can escape. Right, shall be done as the two headed off. As all of them rushed through the door. Meanwhile, much as he hated to leave a battle unfinished, he knew he had to get Hikaru to safety, and he couldn't fight those three while protecting the young prince, seeing that they would use the boy to try to take advantage over him. Yes, retreating right now was the best opportunity. It was running away though. Uzumaki and Naruto never run away from a fight. Naruto, don't worry Hikaru, I got you, said Naruto. Where is your father's room, Hikaru? Naruto asked. In the east wing, he said. As the pair went down there following Hikaru's direction, Naruto saw that there was combat going on, as he saw scorch marks on the walls, kunais and swords, not to mention several bodies, some of them that were moaning in pain, still alive, and not to mention the blood. Blood was everywhere. It was like someone took a bucket of blood and just spread it everywhere across walls and ceilings, as Hikaru buried his face in Naruto's shoulder, his body shaking at the sight. As Naruto heard metal clashing against metal violently, suddenly a man was sent flying right through the wall. As Naruto rushed over to see Jiraiya had hit him with a Rasengan. Jiraiya, Naruto said. Jiraiya turned to Naruto with relief in his eyes. Hey brat, glad to see you alright. What the hell is going on, Naruto asked, as he got a better look at Jiraiya. And why are you wearing nothing but your underwear? Indeed, he was standing in the hallway with a pair of black boxers with pink hearts on them. Never you mind, brat, Jiraiya said, trying to dismiss it rather easily. We need to get the prince and his son out of here. Naruto then noticed the lipstick all over Jiraiya's face and body. You were perving again, weren't you? I was not perving, Jiraiya said. Oh yeah? Then what were you doing? Entertaining some ladies. Like I said, you were perving, Naruto said as his sweat dropped. I wouldn't expect a child like you to understand. Naruto growled hearing that. But no, it's not that time for that, he said. We have more important things to worry about. Right, Naruto said. So what's going on around here? As they went into the room and saw the prince there, as he was in the corner. So, was it an assassination attempt? Worse, Jiraiya said, a serious look on his face. The advisor, Shibidoa, has taken over the country by a coup d'etat. Whatever annoyance that Naruto had left towards Jiraiya was put aside for the moment. No, was not the time for petty anger, as he followed Jiraiya's plan. Their first plan of action was getting these two out of the palace and to safety, as they were currently wanted now, seeing that Shibidoa completely controlled the place. But, lucky for the two, they have someone who can hide from the public eye with ease. As Naruto and Jiraiya led them out of the palace, as Jiraiya was in the lead, using all of his stealth skills to keep them out of the eyesight. While they snuck out, Jiraiya informed the three of them on what he had learned. I have no clue when it happened, but from what I got from few of the guards that interrogated, Shibidoa implanted a coup d'etat and took over the country a week ago before we returned. It was all hush-hush. No one really knew what happened, except for there was some rebellion in the palace. Most of the civilians seemed to think that it was some samurais that went rogue, and the advisor was doing his best to keep everything at bay. What about my father, the prince asked, as he was huffing and puffing as they run down the corridor. He was not used to running like this, or running at all. I'm not really sure, Jiraiya says. He peeked around the corner. As he signaled to Naruto to move, it was clear. From what I can gather, they were unsuccessful about taking out the daimyo, but his whereabouts are currently unknown. Do you think he's alright, the prince asked. It's hard to say, said Jiraiya, as they started to move through the doorway hall. From the information I got, several samurais who were loyal to the daimyo managed to escort him out before the killing blow could be taken. But I have no clue if he's actually alright, as this did not sit with the prince or his son. As Naruto looked at them, this must be tough, not knowing if your old man is there or not. After an assassination attempt, as they burst through the doors, as they saw a large fountain outside. Come on, Jiraiya says. He led them into the courtyard. But the three ninjas appeared in front of them in sun chains. You four won't be going anywhere, the leader said. Give up now and accept your fate. Jiraiya laughed as he stepped forward looking at the trio. You're 100 years too soon to make threats against me, he said. Jiraiya of the Sani, the orange hair man said. It is true, you are more than a match for us. Even if all three of us attack you at the same time, it is highly unlikely that we would win. However, the man said with a wicked smile. Jiraiya then stumbled forward. These are not normal circumstances, are they? The man said. Erosani Naruto shouted as Jiraiya dropped to one knee. What is going on here? Jiraiya said, as his vision started to blur. There was something seriously wrong here, but what? It seems that concoction of ours is finally working, the orange hair man said. We were actually expecting for you to succumb to it much earlier. Your constitution is simply incredible. I guess you're not considered S-rank for nothing. Poison? Said Jiraiya. There's no way you could have poisoned me. I checked everything I ate and drank beforehand, said Jiraiya as he looked up at the man. I expected that much, the man said. but it wouldn't have helped, as you can clearly see. That's because the substance we laced to their drink wasn't actually poison. It's merely a acting herb that can dull the senses and cause people to lose their sense of balance. In many ways, it's similar to alcohol, but more effective at dulling people's reaction time. The only bad side is it takes a long time to work. But I'm surprised the brat over there isn't affected at all, seeing that he had much as you did. Well, different body, different circumstances. Damn it, Jerry curse, whatever this thing is extremely effective. I won't be much help for a couple minutes at least. Karen Bana, Konko, why don't we take care of this trash? You got it, the one known as Konko said. Karen Banco simply giggled as she walked up to the group. This should be fun, she said. Just as they enclosed, an explosion rang off. As there were several shouts followed by several more explosions. Seconds later, a group of samurais appeared, as they were dressed in the military uniform of the Crescent Moon as they rushed on the scene. Everyone protect the prince and Hikaru Dano. A man with short dark hair and lines under his eyes shouted as he charged forward. Nearly a dozen swordsmen rushed forward behind him, screaming their battle cry. Tuh, I thought we had taken care of these guys. It seems that we missed a few insects. Let us show them why coming here was a big mistake. Jiraiya, Naruto said. Get these two out of here, have them retreat with the samurai. Naruto, Jiraiya said. But he didn't realize what Naruto's plan was. You can't mean to. I'll cover your backs and make sure you're not followed, Naruto interrupted. It wouldn't be good if those three managed to follow you, especially with the condition that you're in. You can't expect me to do that, leave you alone. I do, Naruto said. Right now, I'm the only one amongst us that can hold these three off. You're in no condition to fight, and those swordsmen are no match for those ninjas. As he watched two of the swordsmen thrown to stone, and they were shattered by a powerful fist from the orange-haired man. At the same time, one of them had their face crushed under Konko's assault. Two more of them fell by Karabana as she used her genjutsu to confuse them, and they used her swords to cut them to shreds. I'm the only one strong enough to fight them, and with these two gone, I will be able to go all out to have to worry about your safety. This is the only option we have right now, and you know it. Jiraiya looked at Naruto for several seconds as he sighed. You're just as stubborn as your mother, he said. Not as stubborn as my father, Naruto asked. Nah, he was nowhere as stubborn as her. As Jiraiya picked himself up, shaking a bit. Alright, he said. Are you going to be alright? Naruto cracked his neck. Who the hell do you think you're talking to, he asked. Naruto, Hikaru said, as Naruto turned his head back and looked at the boy. Don't worry about me, kid, Naruto said, giving the kid a smile. I'll meet up with you later. Hikaru didn't look convinced, but he didn't have time to say anything as Naruto unsealed the large sword as he jumped into the fray. As he jumped towards the orange-haired man who was currently fighting the black-haired swordsman, as Naruto appeared in a quick movement and swung his blade, the man with eyes wide before he jumped away as several pieces of his hair was sliced off. As Naruto turned his eyes, you, samurai, the prince and his son has already left. Take what is left of your man and find them. I'll deal with these guys. The man looked like he was about to complain for a second, but he thought of it. Very well, I am grateful for the assistance. Whatever, Naruto said. Now get out of here. Right. The orange-haired man chuckled. His name was Ishide. How brave of you for letting that man get away. Brave and stupid, said Ishide. Yeah, Naruto says he swings his blade around. As Ishide, eyes followed the blade. I'm an idiot and I don't know the strength between us and blah 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 blah, Naruto said. You talk too much, Ishide said. Oh dear, it seems I made you angry, Naruto said. If you think I talk too much, why don't you come over here and make me stop? Very well, Ishide said, as he held up his gauntlet-covered hands. As bright, orange veins appeared all over it. There was an eye on the back of his hand is slowly open. I will gladly put you in your place. As Naruto's fangs extended out. As he then pumped chakra down to his legs as the both of them shoot off. As the both of them clash in the center, a loud boom exploded off as the battle began. Meanwhile, Snazzy was at her desk doing paperwork. As this was not unusual, she was always here. Well, when she was not, at the hospital or training Sakura. Speaking of the girl, she was doing well. Sakura growth as increased at a great rate. It wouldn't be long now before she was ready to take the next student exams. Snazzy was just about to reach for another file when there was a crack. As she turned her head to look over at the picture frame of Naruto, Jiraiya, her, and Shizune. They had taken it just after she said that she'd come back to Konoha. As Naruto and Shizune were standing in front side by side, the older woman had a hand on Naruto's shoulder and the both of them were smiling. Behind them were Snazzy and Jiraiya. As Snazzy had a hand on Naruto's head, ruffling a bit. As Jiraiya had a hand on Naruto's shoulder, all of them had smiles, even her. In the center of the frame where Naruto's image could be seen, there was a crack on the glass. That can't mean anything good, she said. I hope this is not an omen of some kind. Then again, this was Naruto. He was quite capable for someone who was only 14 years old. Yes, he should be fine. So why did she feel so uneasy? Meanwhile, back at the palace, the explosion and sonic booms went through the courtyard. A large gust of wind that tore through the ground and tear apart the palace side. The once beautiful courtyard had been destroyed. The fountain was nothing but a heap of rubble now. The once golden gates were twisted, and the ground was filled with holes and pop marks from explosions. In the center of all of this was Naruto and his three opponents, as Naruto was glaring at them with his fangs bared, as the three ninjas that he was locked in battle with. You seem to have in some trouble, asked Ishide. Where's all the confidence you were sporting earlier? Where's all the shit that you were speaking earlier? Naruto asked back. As much as he didn't want to admit it, these three were giving him some problems. The battle had started well enough with Naruto getting a good number of hits on Ishide without getting any hits in return. But all that changed when these two entered the fray, as Naruto has been having some serious problems. It wasn't that they were strong, as Naruto had said the other two were at least Chunin levels, and Ishide was at least Jonin level. And Naruto wasn't one to brag, but he could fight off Kakashi. So these were not really a threat. The problem was they weren't fighting individually, as Naruto quickly threw himself to the left. A second later, Konko smashed into the ear, destroying it where he was standing, as several chunks of earth was break apart. Several of those debris was sent flying towards Naruto as he had to cross his arm in front of his face. Large cuts and bruises appeared on him where the rocks struck. The moment he dropped his arms, he was attacked by Karabana and Ishide. As Ishide went for a frontal assault, his Naruto and him started to clash, creating shock waves. As Karabana struck from Naruto's blind spot, she tried to impale him, but Naruto ducked under the attack, as he then twisted his hand and grabbed her kunai hand before flipping her around and threw her up. He then delivered a hard punch right to her stomach, as she was sent sailing and smashed right into the courtyard wall. Konko and Ishide then came in Naruto's face, as they engaged him in a vicious 2-on-1 taijutsu assault. That left Naruto little time to prepare. He had to just dodge. Hold still, you little shit, said Konko, as he threw several fast punches at the air, whisked around his punches, as Naruto swerved and bent his body, dodging each and every blow. As Naruto completely missed one of Ishide's feet, slipping right into its guard, as the foot struck his stomach, as Naruto's body had to bend over, as all the air left his lungs, as he was launched backwards. He stomped his foot in the ground though, as he stopped himself. Damn it, Naruto said, that attack really hurt. They might not be the strongest shinobis around, but their teamwork was superb, as they didn't give him the time to do anything, and they also covered each other's weaknesses, as they even forced him to seal back away his sword. As Naruto analyzed every one of them, as a girl, she mainly focused on genjutsu and then coming close to take out her opponents. And Konko, he was just brute strength. And Ishide, Naruto looked at two of his fingers to what Ishide did, as they turned into something resembling a stone, but they were returning to normal. The gauntlet of his turned anything he touched into stone. What a troublesome power, Naruto thought. Karabana, Konko, let's put an end to this brat. Right, the two of them said, as they struck out at him. The first reaching was Ishide and Konko, as they struck at him hard, as Naruto bent his body at an unnatural angle. As Konko's fist came over his head, Naruto latched onto Konko's hand and swung and landed right on it. He then pulled back his feet as he was about to drive it right in Konko's face, but he had to jump where Ishide almost touched him with his gauntlet. The moment he landed, pink soccer petals came all around him. They swirled around him like he was in a small tornado. Before Naruto had time to counter the genjutsu, the Kyuubi was also busy healing Naruto's fingers, his petrified fingers, as numerous of cuts came on Naruto's skin. As Naruto tried to reflect it with his own chakra, but more cuts came on his body. He knew that her speed was all a part of the illusion. He was faster than her, way faster, but he sucked at genjutsu and he needed to concentrate to dispel it. A little help here would be nice, Naruto said. Shut up, brat, I'm busy. Unless you want your fingers to remain like that for the rest of your life. Something stabbed him right on his left arm, as Naruto quickly pulled out the kunai and threw it away. Better to have frozen fingers and keep my life than end up dead. Naruto had to tilt back his head as a kunai passed it, barely grazing him. As Naruto tried to jump out of his pedals, but they followed him and so did Karabana. That won't work, she said, as more slashes came on Naruto's body. Finally, I'm done. As Naruto clenched his fists. Much better, he said. Suddenly, his body started to bubble, as red chakra came over him as two fox ears came out. All of his wounds healed within seconds, as steam came out of them, and they were gone. What the hell is this, Karabana said, as Naruto turned his eyes towards her. She was frozen as she felt a fear of death just wash over her in seconds. Naruto simply roared as the entire pedals were blown away from him, as Carabana and the ground underneath him was flung away with great speed, as she smashed right into the wall, rather painfully, as she broke into it, as the top wall then crumbled down right on her, crushing her underneath it. What the hell is that power? Kanko said. Ishide didn't answer, as he too were staring at the blonde. As Naruto's fangs extended even more, his claws extended, his eyes became red, as he no longer looked like a simple boy, as his whisker marks got thick, now looking like a demon. As Naruto turned his head towards him. What do you say about round 2? He asked. The ground exploded as Naruto shot it off with great speed towards the two. Meanwhile, Jerry came to a stop. Jiraiya-sama, said the prince, you guys go on ahead. As he looked at the samurai. Just keep on going, he said. This chakra, he thought. He didn't give them much time to think as he just headed off. The drug was still affecting him and his chakra was shot to hell. And his balance was not what it should be, but it was better than before. As he knew if Naruto is using his chakra, then those three must be giving him trouble. I have to hurry, Jiraiya said. Back to the battle, Ichide was sent soaring through the air from a punch he just received from Naruto as he crashed like a god had just picked him up and thrown him. As Naruto turned towards Kanko, as Kanko's eyes widened in fear, Naruto appeared in front of the man in a blur as he knocked the man up in the air with great force, before rearing back his fist and smashed it right into the man's chest. His body was sent sailing like a rag doll. Kanko said Carabana as she picked herself up, as she had many cuts and bruises all over her body. As Naruto turned towards her, in a blink of an eye he was in front of her, as he smashed his fist into her gut. Her head leaned over as she coughed up blood and spit. As Naruto held onto her shoulder and reared back his fist, as he smashed 3 fists right into her chest. As he grabbed her and threw her as she break through a building, breaking right inside of it. As Ichide and Kanko slowly got to their feet. What the hell kind of power is this? Ichide shouted. Oh, so you two are still alive, Naruto asked. The two of them froze as his sight landed on them. How disappointing. I guess I'm gonna have to correct that rather quickly. As Naruto leaped forward, his claws ready to tear them apart. Ishide and Kanko slowly got to their feet, but then Naruto stopped, as he felt unbearable pain wash over his body. As Naruto didn't understand what this was, he had his arm been crushed and ripped off by Gaara and regrown. But this pain was beyond that. He felt like his insides were burning out. Naruto let out a monstrous scream. Kyuubi, what's going on? He said. I don't know, she said. Your body seemed to be rejecting my chakra for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on. But what? How could it be rejecting your chakra and why now? Naruto said. As Kyuubi didn't have an answer, she didn't know what was going on. As Naruto fell to his knees and started to cough up blood. As Ishide smirked. Seems he's at his limit. Let's do this, Kanko, he said. As Kanko nodded. As Kanko rushed over as fast as he could and appeared right beside Naruto. As he smashed a foot right in Naruto's gut. Naruto coughed up more blood as he was launched into the air. But a hand reached out and grabbed onto his leg, preventing him from going too far, as Kanko smashed Naruto into the ground with a terrible force. As Kanko picked Naruto up and smashed that knee right into his stomach. Again, a knee planted into his gut, and again and again and again and again. Naruto was coughing up blood the entire time. As only then Kanko was satisfied as he threw Naruto straight up in the air. The moment Naruto opened his eyes in mid-air, Ishide feet connected into his nose, breaking it with so much force. Naruto's body was sent sailing before going straight down. The moment Naruto blinked twice and he hit the ground, his vision was blurry, as darkness was taking over, as he could barely even see, as he heard a ringing sound in his ear. As Naruto realized he was lying in some sort of crater, there was gravel around him, as he could see the night sky up. He thought he would be in pain, but for some reason there wasn't. In fact, he couldn't even feel anything right now. Naruto! 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 Kyuubi, he said. Why did she sound so panicked? Don't pass out now, stay with me, she shouted. Naruto nodded as the darkness started to crowd in his vision even more. He could hear her screaming, but it sounded so far away, and he was tired. He was so tired. All he wanted to do right now was sleep. The last thing he saw was the two figures standing above him. As he then heard someone yell his name once more as the explosion rang off, before his eyes went dark. Time skip. Naruto slowly regained consciousness, as he was lying on something rather comfortable. But he felt no pain on his body, no muscles aching. The last thing you remember was fighting those 3 enemy shinobis, and using the Kyuubi's chakra and then nothing. Are you finally awake? As he understood now, he was in the seal. pain. Out of the physical world couldn't reach him in here. As he fully opened his eyes, Naruto had to blink several times because he was staring back at those red eyes right in front of his face. As he jumped back, "Kyuubi," he said, "what are you doing so close to me?" "I want to see how you'd react," she said. His eyebrow twitched. "So, you were screwing with me?" "Pretty much," she said. As Naruto ran a hand through his hair, "Whatever," he said. "So, what the hell happened back there?" "What happened with me using your yokai?" he said. "Oh, that," she said. "It seems your body is no longer capable of using it." "What the hell?" Naruto said. "How come?" "Well, because your own yokai is now fully integrated with your body. Let me explain. When your body first took half of my yokai and it started interrogating your body, it was a process that was going on. It has been there for the entire time, integrating. It was a separate power from your chakra. Well, except for that one time when you fighting that snake man, and you turn into that something that we've never seen before. Now, all of that has completely combined together. And now because you have your own yokai now, my yokai no longer is compatible with you." "I'm not sure I understand," Naruto said. "That yokai wasn't originally yours? How can it not be compatible with your power?" "Because it is no longer my power, it is yours. The thing you have to understand is two such potent powers cannot be used at the same time. Think of our powers as magnets. Back when your chakra was completely human, you were like the negative and I was like the positive. But now that your chakra is fully integrated, it's like the positive as well. Two equal power of positive cannot combine. They reject one another. In your case, they were violent and pushing each other away, hurting your body. That is why you felt so much pain." "So what are you saying?" Naruto asked. "I'm saying that you can no longer rely on my power to get you out of tough situations." "Well, that sucks," said Naruto. "Even using to heal your body could basically tear your body apart from the inside, as that had been one of his top things, the healing factor that you provide." "It's not all that bad," she said. "Know that your own yokai is integrated with your chakra. You should have complete control over it. You should also get a healing factor as well. Things like poison and minor wounds, they will heal quickly as usual. You can probably even regenerate from losing fingers and toes, maybe even a hand or foot. But not an arm or a leg," Naruto said. "Not until you fully master it," she said. "As you know, yokai is very more different from chakra. It's much more potent." "So how would I go about learning to control it?" Naruto asked. By entering that transformed state that you did with the snake guy. But I'm not so sure. It's just different. You might have even new abilities." "What?" said Naruto. "It's not like this happened before," she said. "I'm not completely sure. I am just in the dark as you are. So I guess I'll be figuring out how to control it on my own. I will help where I can," the Kyuubi informed him. "I am just not sure how much help I can be." "What? Why are you staring at me like that?" she asked. "Sorry, it's just I never thought that I'll see the day where you offer your help so, well, easy. Even when you helped train me in the tuning exams, you did it so difficultly." "Whatever," she said. "Don't look too much into it. I just don't want a weak vessel." Yeah, he said. "And don't act so patronizing either," she said. Meanwhile, "What? You let them get away?" Shibedaba said, as he couldn't believe these three ninjas that he paid with his own money let the prince and his son escape. And they didn't even kill one of those ninjas. If you can't even kill a single one of my enemies, then what the hell am I paying you for? If they were going to be this worthless, he might as well not pay them a single dime at all. Failures like this didn't even deserve a cent of his hard-earned money." "The brat was more good than we thought," Ishide said. "He was doing best to keep his composure, but it was difficult when his employer was acting like a complete prick. Not only was he immune to our poison, he was easily at the same level that I am at. He also has a strange power that I'd never seen before. I don't want to hear any of your excuses," the man shouted, pointing a finger at Ishide, standing on either side of him, as Karabana and Konko was also having trouble keeping themselves composed. As Shibedaba walked away, as he looked over his domain. "Because I am so great, I'm going to give you three one last time. You are going to kill those shinobis and bring those two to me. Do this and I shall forget all about your failure." "Very well," Ishide said. "We shall exterminate those ninjas and bring the prince and his son to you." Ishi Karaban started, but she was silent as he raised his hand. Good, said Shibedaba. "I'm glad to hear that. But know that I will not tolerate any more failures on your part. If you fail to accomplish this task, you will not receive a single cent from me." "Understood," Ishide said, his fists clenched. "We shall take our leave now. Come on, Karabana, Konko." As the group walked out, leaving Shibedaba alone. "Ishide, do you really think it's a good idea to continue to support him after what happened?" Karabana asked. She did not like the idea of facing that blonde hair brat again. Just remember how those eyes looked at her. It made her shudder. Don't be ridiculous. Our only shot of getting rid of those two is when we had the shot of surprise. They had been counting on Jiraiya's guard being down and the poison stopping him from fighting. Know that Jiraiya is on us and know that we have the tasteless poison. He will be on his guard. Our moment of surprise is gone, and with it, any advantage that we may once have is gone as well. And I doubt it will be just Jiraiya we have to deal with. We will also have to take care of that blonde brat as well. And he has proven to be difficult as Jiraiya as well, with that strange power. So what do we do then, asked Uncle. We will stick around for a while longer, said Ishide. Jiraiya and that brat will come here with the army to try and retake the palace. We will use the chaos by those two to help make our escape, but not before taking some of the riches. After the way they had stuck their necks out and nearly been killed for it, it was only fair. Meanwhile, Jiraiya smashed his fist on the ground. This is all my fault, he said, as he looked at Naruto's unconscious body. As he shut his eyes, he shouldn't have left the kid back there. He should have tried to do something even in his weakened state. He then heard a small growl, as it made him open his eyes, as Naruto stared before blinking. As he looked over, Erosenin, he said. Jiraiya's sweat dropped, as he wasn't pleased that his apprentice was calling him Erosenin again, but that could only be a good thing. Where am I? Naruto said. You're in a hideout at the rebels. Yeah, I guess that would work. We're in a hideout that the rebels are using to hide the prince and his son. I see, said Naruto. Listen, Naruto. Erosenin, Naruto said, cutting him off. I'm sorry. Sorry? Sorry for what? Jiraiya asked. For the way I've been treating you, Naruto said. Jiraiya stared at the boy in surprise. I've been thinking about it a lot. I know how much my old man meant to you. You always talk about him, like he was a son that you never had. And I imagine that it must have hurt when he died. It probably hurt so much that you had to get away from Konoha because he reminded you of him. Just like Bachan, when she lost her love and her little brother. Look, I guess what I'm trying to say is I understand why you never came to see me, and I can accept that. So, Naruto says, he turned his head. I'm sorry for being a jerk to you, he mumbled. Throughout Naruto's speech, Jiraiya could only stare at him in shock. Naruto was apologizing. Naruto, the most loudest, the most obnoxious person he's ever known. Someone who was even more stubborn than anyone he has met in his entire life was apologizing. Jiraiya wasn't sure what he should do. He pinched himself to check if it was a dream. Oh, okay, he said. I should have come to visit you at least once in a while. I knew life in Konoha wasn't easy for you. I got the occasional report from Sarutobi, telling me as much, but I was so consumed by my own sorrow, I wasn't thinking about coming back. Huh, I guess we're both sorry then, said Naruto. I guess so. So what now, Naruto asked. Now? Well, there are a few things I need to tell you, said Jiraiya. Moments later, as Naruto walked up to Hikaru, who was sitting on a cliff, as the tear marks were still on his cheeks going down. Hikaru didn't even move. As Naruto sat down next to him and looked over at the view. After a few seconds he spoke. I heard what happened to your grandfather. Naruto said softly, as Hikaru stiffened. I heard that it was your grandfather who sent you and your dad on that tour to protect the both of you, while he went to confront the minister, who he has been disagreeing on the path your kingdom should take. One talk about Naruto asked. It's not good to leave this kind of stuff bottled up. He said that happiness and wealth weren't the same thing. He said that he wanted a place of harmony and peace. And he always kept on talking about what really matters in this world. My grandfather, he was always very kind to me. He made that bow for me, and he always used to watch me practice. Tears started to run down Hikaru's cheek as he started to sniffle some more. And whenever I made a bullseye, he was even happier than I was. I loved him so much. As Naruto sat there for a long while, just listening to Hikaru pour everything out, as night came down. Do you think you understand what your grandfather was trying to say, Naruto asked? As Hikaru looked over at Naruto, he was talking about what happens here, Naruto said, as he placed a finger on his heart. What happened right here in the heart. Back in Konoha, the third Hokage was a lot like my grandfather. Back when he was alive, he would look after me. And when he died, he left everything for me to look after. That is one of the reasons I promised to become Hokage and protect the village instead. What your grandfather left is something very precious, and it's up to you and your father to keep it safe. If it is really that precious, if it meant that much to my grandfather, I'm not sure I could protect it, Hikaru said. I'm not sure I'm ready for something like that. You may be right, Naruto said, as Hikaru looked at him. But you're a little young. Maybe you're not ready to handle that kind of responsibility now, but you will be when you grow up. And hey, even if you don't try, how can you be sure? Maybe you're ready right now and you just don't know it. The only way to make sure is to get up and go for it. But we're friends, right, Hikaru, Naruto said. That means if you become the daimyo of this land, and I become Hokage, that means Konoha will be friends with this land just like us. Really? Hikaru said. Yeah, and that means whenever you or your country is in trouble, Konoha will be there to look out for you. And of course, if Konoha was ever in trouble, I would like to be able to count on you. So how about it, Naruto says. He held out a pinky finger. Friends for life, he asks. Hikaru looked at the hand for several seconds before holding out his own finger. Yeah, he says. He touched Naruto's pinky with his own. Friends for life, he said, as he gave Naruto a smile. Now what do you say? We go and take back your home? As Hikaru smiled. Yeah, he said. Time skip. It looked like a rather peaceful day, as people were going around opening their shops. People, children were walking around, but it was just an illusion. Everyone felt rather uneasy. That commotion that went on, and now they found out that the prince and his son was a traitor to the crown. It was early this morning, and he stated that the prince was the one who had made that attack on his father. The citizens were beyond shock. How? Why would he attack his own father? According to the new ruler, the attack was successful, and the recent daimyo had died from poison last night. As the circus people that the prince brought back here knew that was a lie. There was no way someone acting so goofy and joyful would kill their own father. They were sure of it. They were contacted by the palace, who wanted to bring them for enter a celebration rising of a new daimyo, Shibedaba. As they had just finished practicing, they wanted to pull out all of the stops. As the taskmaster looked over at everyone, before he heard Shimo roared a bit, as the tiger rushed off and jumped on someone. Come on, Naruto said. As the taskmaster looked over, Naruto? What are you doing here? Petting Shimo one last time, Naruto stood up. We need your help, he said. Meanwhile, Shibedaba was sitting down on his throne. Suddenly a group came in, as the captain of this group stepped forward. My lord, the entertainment that you have called for has arrived. Good, good. Let them in, he said, as he stood up and made his way to the veranda. The throne room had the way to make him see all of his kingdom. It will serve as a good place to watch the coming festivities. As a large group was let in, as Jiraiya was under disguise watching everything. As the taskmaster stepped forward, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to the greatest show in the entire elemental nations. As Jiraiya narrowed his eyes around, he couldn't see the three amongst the crowd. As Naruto told him that the three of them work well together. Be safe, Naruto, he thought. Meanwhile, darkness. They were traveling to a very tight, small space. As Naruto, the short brown-haired man, his name was Koga. Several samurai, the prince and his son was traveling through the small space, making their way. As a large argument had broke out between the prince and Koga, as he wanted them to stay but they wanted to come. In the end, Koga had been forced to accede to their demands. As Naruto had vouched and said that he would protect them no matter what from all danger that they face. As Naruto channeled his yokai to his eyes, his fully developed yokai, as they turned purple, he could control it a lot better. As he scanned the area. Hey, how much farther until we get out of here, Naruto asked. It's not farther. It should be a minute or the most, said Koga. How can you even see in this place, Naruto asked Hikaru, as he was clutching onto the back of Naruto's shirt. It's my eyes, Naruto said. I'm channeling chakra to my eyes to enhance my vision. Whoa, that's awesome, said Hikaru. Quit talking, you two, said Koga. We are almost there. As the group made their way. So, Tana-san, what is this? The man glared at Naruto at the name. It's Koga, he said. Come on, use a katana. Tana-san. I suppose I could call you Kitana-san, but that's way too long. As Naruto came up on a wall, the man stepped forward and pushed a hidden entrance as he opened up. As Koga completely ignored Naruto. Would you shut the hell up, he said after Naruto kept on talking. Tuh, Naruto grumbled to himself. Still gonna call you Tana-san though. Finally, Naruto said as he walked out into the hallway. Anyway, let's get going. Sanin has probably already started the party. We need to be more careful, said Koga. It would be wise to just go up in there. Naruto slapped him on the back as the man nearly fell. You need to chill out, Naruto said. You worry too much. We have this covered, Tana-san, Naruto said. It will be a snap. It's Koga, the man shouted. Now who's being loud, said Naruto. Meanwhile, as the show had went on good, as the taskmaster stepped up with a smirk on his face, and now I would like to introduce one of the main members of our circus, Jiraiya. Shibedaba eyes went wide. Jiraiya? For the next act, Jiraiya said, I will show you how a real fire user roll. As he went through handstand fire style in Dent, as he fired out several globs of oil first, as it ignited in the air before it struck the ground. As several samurais also ended up getting caught in the explosion. Seize him, kill him, Shibedaba said. All of the samurais rushed forward, but they stood absolutely no chance, as Jiraiya stepped through them like they were nothing. As many of the circus people stepped forward as well, as they were also disguised, the samurais. What the hell are you people standing there? Open, kill them all, Shibida said. Dynamic entry! A feet smashed into Shibida's face, knocking him off the podium as he was sent sailing down to the ground. As Naruto landed, I always wanted to do that. Whenever Bushiroad or Guy Sensei did it, it was so awesome, Naruto said. Shibida by the prince shouted, as Shibida picked himself up with a wince. How nice of you to join us. Now I can finally kill you and your son. You're not going to kill anyone today, the prince said. You're under arrest for the crimes against the throne and the murder of my father. No, 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 that is not what will be happening. It is you who will be dying today. Ichide, kill these fools. But nothing happened. Ichide, I said kill these fools. But nothing happened. Shadeba eyes went wide. It seems like your friends abandoned you, Naruto said. No, 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 said Shadeba. I paid those 3 good months to do my bidding. How could they betray me? Money can't buy everything, said Naruto. Damn you, said Shadeba. And damn you as well, Ishide, he said. Shadeba, in the name of a true daimyo, you're under arrest, said Korg as he draws his blade. No, I won't allow you to take me. Kill them all, said Shadeba, as all of his men unleashed their blades. Leave this to me, said Naruto. As Naruto thrust off of the ground, with incredible speed his body could not be tracked by simple eyesight. As Naruto smashed into them like a ball, smashed into a bunch of pins. None of them stood a single chance. I guess that was it, Naruto said, as all of the men were spread out all over the ground. With the disappearance of the 3 soldiers that could actually do something, the battle to take over the, throne back, it just took 1 hour, as Shibidaba was given a death penalty for all the shit that he did. As a prince, he became the daimyo, as he made an announcement to what really happened. The people seemed to take the knowledge well enough. Much of them was aware of Shibidaba's greed, so they were not that surprised. With nothing else to do, Naruto spent most of his time training. With the Kyuubi yokai no longer being a usable trump card and he has to focus on his own, yes, he had to increase his power. The first thing he tried to do was enter that state that he had achieved when he was facing off against Orochimaru. It hadn't turned out too well when he first tried it though. It just activated for 10 seconds. As the Kyuubi theorized, seeing that his yokai and chakra was now 1, that state will become incredibly more powerful than it had been. But it was extremely hard to control now, the stress on his body that is. So that meant he had to make his body extremely durable for the stress that state will take on his body for the incoming future. As Naruto and Jiraiya relationship was getting back on track, the fact that Jiraiya had saved Naruto when he was, defeated by those 3 ninjas, when the yokai had reflected bad on him, that was a big boost in that as well. And with Naruto no longer pushing him away, that meant they could get in some serious, heavy training. Nearly a month after Shibidaba's execution, peace had returned to the country once again, and Naruto and Jiraiya was ready to meet there. Wait, do you really have to go ask Hikaru? Yeah, I do, said Naruto. But don't worry too much, I doubt this will be the last time we will see each other. After all, when I become Hokage and you become daimyo, we will have to meet so we can finalize the alliance. Promise you will come back to visit Hikaru, as he held out his left hand, pinky extended. As Naruto chuckled and wrapped his pinky around as well. It's a promise. Come on, Jiraiya called out. We have to get going. Come in here, said Naruto. Stop being so impatient, you damn pervert. This coming from the boy who created a jutsu that turned him into a naked chick, Jiraiya shot back. He got you there, said the Kyuubi. Whatever Naruto says, he looked back at Hikaru. I'll see you around, kid, he said, and with that he headed off, as Hikaru waved him off. Several miles away from the palace, as Ishide and his group was there. Looks like we were right to leave them, said Terabana. Of course I was, said Ishide. Going up against one of the Sanin and his apprentice after our failed attempt the first time, would it be so good? Whatever, Konko said, he smashed his fist into the ground. I still want to pay that damn brat back for making us look so foolish. Oh, do you now, said a voice. The 3 of them jumped, as they couldn't believe they were caught off guard so easily by someone, as they all got to their feet ready to battle. A chuckle could be heard. There is no need for violence. In fact, I have a proposition I think you might find very beneficial. Time skip, as Naruto was currently on a ship, the breeze blowing through his hair. As he was enjoying it, the last time he was on a ship, he had to deal with the storm, and his personal crap as well. You're such a child, said the Kyuubi. Oh well, excuse me for being 14, miss, I am over, several centuries old. Just for calling me old, I'm going to give you a stomach ache for the rest of this mission. Like you could, Naruto said. We both know you can't do that, the seal won't let you. Oh my, it seems like the hairless monkey is getting smarter. Naruto simply shrugged it off. Something on your mind, he said. Not really, I'm just bored. You've been getting bored an awfully lot lately, said Naruto. Lately, she had been talking to him a lot, and right now he was currently on a mission. I hope you're not implying something, she said. What would I be implying? Never mind, she said. Oi, brat. What is it, perv, Naruto said. Jiraiya frowned. Is that any way to speak to your master? Well, for you, kind of, Naruto said. So, what's up? The director is getting ready to do the photo shoot. Figure that you want to see it. You bet I want to see it, Naruto said. Come on, let's go. As Naruto made his way out, his mission was to protect the princess Yuki. As he looked out to see Sandia, along with Yuki and the director and the other people out there. As the filming got underway, as Naruto found himself a place to sit. As Naruto sat down as he watched Yuki. As it was a wonderful performance. Yashimaru! Yashimaru! Said Yuki. As her partner was not waking up. Hold on, she said. Cut. She raised her hand. The director shook his head. What's wrong now? I can't cry without my teardrops, she said. Naruto's sweat dropped. Oh, for the love of God, would someone get Yuki her teardrops so we can get this run against her director? As Naruto watched someone put eye drops in Yuki's eyes as she cried. What an odd human this girl is. For someone to possess such an amazing acting ability, but not be able to cry in command. It's rather shocking, said the Kyuubi. I'll say, isn't that like a skill that every actor should have? Well, I am speaking from experience. It's amazing what a man will do when a beautiful young girl is in tears, said the Kyuubi. Figures, said Naruto. As the group went out on the iceberg to shot the rest of the film. As the filming was going on, an explosion went off. What the hell, said the director as he looked up. A shadow jumped down from the mountain as Naruto jumped in front of Yuki as Jiraiya leaped forward. It was a man in dull purple hair tied in a ponytail as both him and Jiraiya clashed before the both of them jumped away. Oh, Jiraiya said. Looks like we have some snow ninjas trying to do something. Jiraiya of the Sun, said Nidori. I heard a lot about you. Of course you have, my boy, said Jiraiya with a smirk. Everyone have heard about the great Jiraiya-sama. I've always wanted to see how I would fare against a Sanin. Meanwhile that was going on, Dodo was currently sitting in his chambers. He had received the report that Jiraiya of the Sanin was accompanying Yuki. Well, this was bad, as he knew that he had to hire extra help. This is why he got those two guys. Yes, even if Nidori and his company won't be enough, these S-rank criminals should surely be enough to take care of them and get him that damn crystal. Man, how long is this going to take? Why don't we just go out there and kill them already, said a voice. Be quiet, damn it, the other voice said. If the other guys can go out there and do it, why waste our time? But it's so goddamn boring, the other one said, as he was ready to go out there and kill. But guys, I'll be ending this episode right here. If once next part of this or know what to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.